Welcome, everybody, to a Delco Nerd Network Hot Take. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've never been with us for a hot take, well, it's where a few friends like to get in a basement. We like to give our thoughts, give our opinions on a TV show, a movie, or a game. Today, it's going to be a game, and that game is Cronos, the New Dawn. Here to discuss with me, as always, the triple threat in the morning, Chris Trio.
Gooch, I'm ready to talk about Cronos, the New Dawn. Such is our calling. All right, let's go.
Is that something they say in the
That's
game?
like their thing, their mantra.
Okay. So, and if you didn't just get the hint from that, Trio played this game. I did not, so I'm going to be sitting in the back seat.
The passenger seat.
Trio's going to be in the hot seat for this one.
Yeah.
And I'll ask questions because I am interested in this game. I feel like I've heard nothing but good things, but it came out
tough time
in a weird time where there's a lot of other games coming out before it and after it.
Yeah.
And I feel like that affected its sales. I don't think it's sold entirely well, from what I understand.
It's like 150,000 copies, something like that. It's not good.
Sad.
Yeah.
Because this is from Bloober. The last game we got from them is the Silent Hill 2 remake.
Yep.
And that sold really well.
Yep.
They're going on to do a Silent Hill 1 remake.
Yep.
But they're doing this in between, and only a year after.
Right. Yeah. I think 2 actually, like literally yesterday, just hit 2.5 million.
Yeah,
copies
they
sold
recently
or something like that.
they recently posted some analytics. Yeah, and I think that's pretty good for Konami, especially for Bloober.
I agree.
Yeah, go for it.
So
Tell us.
Yeah, man. Cronos, the New Dawn. I gotta say, it really blew me away. I mean, if you've heard me talk about it at all on our last couple episodes and our like what we're playing, watching, doing, you've heard me gush. I think Bloober did something, really interesting and special here in the way of like, this game feels like a major love letter to the entire genre in a lot of ways. You see a lot of different elements of like your Dead Space, your Silent Hills, your Resident Evil, your inventory management, your even just the tone of it is really it's a very interesting mix of sci-fi and fantasy to a degree. I think Bloober set up a very mysterious and intriguing story that kept me wanting more the whole time. And even by the end, I will say I wasn't like completely like, oh, I get it. It was very Silent Hill in the way of I need to go back here.
I need to think about that for a week and watch a video essay on it.
Right, and I still haven't even gotten to watching the video essay, so I would like to do that at some point. But I think overall, it's a very cool and intriguing story. You play as Traveler ND 3576. You wake up from like this hibernation state.
They say that full name every time?
No, you're just the Traveler. So, and then there are other Travelers that you find throughout the game that are dead, who you need to basically transfer their essences from. Each collector, or each person, I should say, each Traveler has a phylactery. By the way, terms in this, so good. The phylactery, the essence, your pyre, which is like your explosive fire grenade. You have what else? Just your suit, which is called your temporal shell. The design of everything is really fucking sick. You see a lot of H.R. Geiger in it, for sure. There's a lot of like biomechanical, intrinsities to it. I don't even know, just details, I should say. But the suit itself looks very cool. I think the change and like the idea of the orphans are actually really cool as an enemy type. Are you like familiar with how the mechanics work?
So from what I've heard you talk about and what other people have talked about, they're kind of like necromorph-esque. And when they die, they can be recollected by other enemies.
Correct.
And sort of repurposed. And I guess the monster becomes like a bigger, more deadlier version than a smaller base. Okay.
Right. So I think where this really separates itself is in the gameplay elements. It's a little bit less arcadey than like a Dead Space, if you will.
Yeah.
There is like a hit and a stomp, but those are not meant to be relied upon at all. Like those are very much break in case of emergencies if you need to kind of get an enemy away from you. There's no dodge button, which at first I was kind of like, I don't know how I feel about this.
Does Callisto have a dodge?
Yeah, I think it does. I think it does. Yeah.
Okay.
And I was kind of surprised about that at first, but as I kept playing the game and as I got used to, the mechanics and how to really kind of set up your different enemy encounters, I really fell in love with it. There's also another mechanic with all of your weapons. So there's like a charging mechanic. So you can shoot once, just press the trigger, and it's a lighter attack. But if you hold it, it charges it up, and it always releases at the time. Like, you can't hold it indefinitely. There's a charge time that it releases on.
Right.
So I found myself really kind of relying on the pistol a lot, which is great. It feels good. You feel a little overwhelmed at first, for sure. Like, yeah, I had to do a lot of running away. And then you also have to manage them when they die. You can't let them, fuse like that.
Can you like burn the corpses
Yes.
a la Resident Evil?
Yeah,
or
so I was,
Evil
yeah.
Within? Okay.
There are, fuel canisters around the map
Okay,
that you can
cool.
also pull back. So once you explode them, you have this thing called, I forget what the exact term is, but it's like this beam that you use on, they're called oddities. They're like these gold black hole looking things.
Interesting names.
Dude,
Yeah.
again, it's very cool. And you basically, it's like a time shift almost. You press RB and it brings something back. It can move the environment. It's how you kind of progress forward. It's how you can bring back in an exploded barrel after you already exploded it.
Sure.
So yeah, it's a good idea to knock down enemies and kill them near those barrels where you can, or even to group them up, like kind of try to get their bodies lined up next to each other. So you can use you have like a flamethrower that only has a certain amount of charges on it. You get, obviously ammo to refuel it. But yeah, it really had me thinking in a way that I hadn't before in one of these games, and I found that to be a very interesting mechanic. I thought the orphans themselves were not as detailed as I would have liked. So when you knock them out and they're dead on the ground, they kind of get enveloped in these like tentacles, like animation. And then when they are getting fused, a guy walks up to them and like tentacles shoot out, and you can stop the fusing. So if you shoot them once, usually that staggers them and stops it.
Okay.
But if you let them go, they obviously fuse. The more they fuse, the more powerful they get. They become bigger.
Are the orphans like zombies? What are they?
So they seem to be. So the idea is that you are traveling back to 1980s Poland to extract these folks.
So you're from the future.
You are from the future. You are part of the collective, which you don't really know exactly what that is. You wake up in a sarcophagus, which I love too. It's like this like tetrahedron ship that you come out of. The start of the game is very cool. It asks you a few things like, what is a traveler's like purpose, and then gives you like two options and you can choose. I don't know how much that affects like what ending you get and stuff like that, but there are a few different moments like that.
And there
the
are
game.
multiple endings?
There are. So at the end there are two kind of choice. There's a choice that you can make that's very much in your face that changes the ending. But I'm wondering how much other things you do throughout the game affect it. And I really think this idea of Traveler, I think it's ND 3576. Again, we don't ever get a name.
Are you male or female?
You seem to be a female just based off the voice from the beginning.
Okay.
And it's interesting because she starts out incredibly robotic and just like, I'm here for the collective. But by the end, she almost like reverses and becomes more human. And that's definitely a big part of the story, and discovering why the collective is what it is doing what it's doing, and even where you specifically as this traveler came from.
So it's kind of like the opposite of Soma.
To a degree.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I really found that to be an interesting journey. And I do think the environments get a tad samey sometimes. There are different stages, like your Silent Hill. There's a hospital. There's the steel mill you go to. There's
so you're
the
really
apartment complex.
You're really in those like did you say 1980s?
Yes.
So you're in these like 1980s-esque looking, broken down,
Post-apocalyptic, rundown areas.
Silent Hill, Otherworld, kind of weird vibe, spooky vibe.
Right, and then you're making your way to what they call dive points. Again, there's a lot of like submarine lingo in here too.
Yeah.
And you use your anchor to access it, which is on your back. It's like this thing that you just throw down into the ground, and it's like a big tear, like a glowing orange tear.
So does that allow them to go
back in time?
Okay, deeper into time.
So you're mostly playing in the present day, this like broken down post-apocalyptic time. And then you get to each area is getting to that dive point, and then you get to that dive point. So you spend a good bit of time.
So
in the past.
it's like a point in time where, like, I don't know, the temporal barrier is not as strong.
Exactly.
So you're able to access. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So and your powers revolve around time. I assume your suit has something to do with that. And
and that's the temporal shell.
It gives you the ability to manipulate time via your powers, via these anchor points or dive points. Yeah, so that's interesting.
It's just really cool and interesting design in general. Like I haven't played a horror game like this in a while. I like that it's taking such full advantage of the sci-fi, but mixing in, I feel like those fantasy elements, even just with the terminology itself. The weapons are cool, Gooch.
What were we just watching or playing? Something that's like sort of like sci-fi fantasy. I mean, like Warhammer's kind of like that.
Definitely.
There's something in the back of my mind. I was listening to something about it yesterday. that someone had referred it as sci-fi fantasy. But anyway, are there any like sort of puzzles a la Resident Evil, or is it kind of like you were kind of talking about like the combat mechanics being sort of like a puzzle, which I can understand, but it's any like, okay, I need to figure this out to progress. Like there's a very,
there's a specific one I can think of near the end of the game that's very much a puzzle. Like there's a door, you get a bunch of different elements or I guess, what am I looking for? Not icons, but just
symbols.
Like they're just objects. It's like a sword, a shield, this, that, and the other, and there's 6 statues. And there's a poem,
a wall
or whatever,
text, yeah.
And then you got to line it up the way that you have to. And it wasn't really that hard. I think that there might have been 1 or 2 others. There was another one where you have to find a safe code, like it's on a picture in the room somewhere. And spoiler.
Okay, so nothing like Silent Hill, more like Resident Evil.
Definitely more like Resident Evil. Even I'd say even less than Resident Evil. There's just not that much of the puzzles in general. Yeah. I will say though, the weaponry in this is very interesting and cool. So you have your weapon, but it's almost modular. So you get new mods to put into it, and then it's very Dead Space where it looks super.
So it's kind of like the security weapon. I think that's what it's called from Control.
Absolutely, it is. Yeah, so it changes into whatever weapon you want to change it into. The effect of where it like kind of 3D prints itself into the new thing.
Yeah,
it's very cool. And there's even an effect on like the temporal shell itself. I don't know how to describe it. Like there's like a rainbow sheen. It's gray, but there's like a rainbow sheen to the dome. I don't even know how else to describe it. It's a very cool effect, and just a very interesting design. But I will say, like the story throughout this, I think is very well acted too. The motion capture actually blew me away. How well it looked. There's a good amount of cutscenes, and again, it's very mysterious, and they're not giving it to you super straight. But if you're paying attention, I think you can very much piece it together. There's audio logs too. There's a lot of things going on in the world that you can find, just like print news media where it's like things happening at the time, what's unfolding, a lot of hints of what's happening in the game. Even there are things that I'm going back and I'm like, oh, that's what that meant. The platinum seems to be like well within reach too. So I'm actually very excited to go back for that. I've been replaying it right now. Sorry, I'm getting a little dry here.
No, it's okay. Sort of inevitability.
Yeah, no, for sure. But yeah, man, I just had a really overall fantastic time with it. I do think that there is one other very interesting element to this game, and that is the resource economy. Like, when it comes to like Resident Evil,
right?
Even Silent Hill. I remember by the time I got to the prison, I'm like, I'm not getting any ammo right now. What's going on? Right. And I think, that's a major part of these games. They don't want to give you too much. They don't want to give you too little. They want you teetering on that edge to make you feel unsafe. And I don't know if there's a game that's done it better than this. Like the way it doles you out weapons and even just ammo. I'm like, man, how am I going to make it out of this? I have 1 shot. Boom. Guy drops 9 bullets. I'm like, oh, okay. Thank God. I'm going to be okay. You can also craft. It's a very kind of simple crafting system, but you find chemicals and like gears throughout.
So you're picking up resources to craft ammo, aid kind of items,
shell
that sort
patches,
of thing.
Yeah, if you will.
Do you craft weapons or anything like that?
You don't
like
craft
weapons. Okay.
So there's 7 weapons you can find throughout the game. I found 6 of them. I missed one apparently, so I'm going back to check it out. There's 2 pistols. There's 2 shotguns. The Aeroblast, which is like a big, like almost rocket launcher type thing. It clears like a whole area, but you only get 1 shot with it, and you have to get more ammo. And then a submachine gun. Submachine gun, I will say, I'm not finding great.
Do you think it's another submachine gun or like an assault rifle gun?
It might. I would assume so. Yeah, I actually don't know what the last one.
What do you think? I kind of hate when games sort of do that. I think Callisto had 2 shotguns. Like, I don't really like when there's like multiple pistols and multiple shotguns, especially with a game with like a small arsenal. It kind of feels like, I don't know, like something could be different here. Do you think that kind of goes into Cronos?
I would agree to. I will say this: I got my first weapon, and I was like, I'm sticking with this. Like, I got my first pistol, which is like the charge shot, and then you get a lighter pistol, which I'm like, I just don't like this as much.
Right.
But the nice thing that they do is there's an upgrade system in it. It's relatively, simple. Each gun has its own thing, and it has like, you can upgrade its charge speed, its damage, its reload efficiency, its how much it can hold. And you can do that for every gun. But you can reset every gun and get all of your resources back out of it whenever you want.
I guess I like that those mechanics are there in games, but I feel like I never take advantage of it.
Yeah.
All that often, like and not even talking about like builds.
Right.
Like in Borderlands 4, you can respec it pretty much any time, which is great.
Yeah.
But also, it's like, why would you respec while you're leveling? Like,
right,
and I just feel like it's like rarely do I feel like I'm like, oh, I really don't like this gun. I want to just totally take parts away and put it in another.
Right.
Again, I get why those like sort of mechanics are in games for you to easily reset yourself and like try different things, but I feel like I myself don't often use them.
No, I totally hear you. And I think in like an RPG, it feels less appealing to me personally because, like you're saying, you put so many hours into building up this character.
Right. You're just gonna totally like respec yourself,
that would
and
be
you're like
crazy
a totally
to me.
yeah, like yeah, in RPGs especially, it's like okay, like I'm a mage sort of template,
right?
And I've gone down a certain path. Now
I'm just
like,
gonna be a fighter.
In Dragon Age: The Veilguard, you can just switch over into warrior, and it's just like there's like an immersion breaking happening.
I totally agree.
That I don't really love, but it definitely doesn't sound like that's necessarily the case.
For sure, I think in a game like this, it works much more for me because it's like, all right, I tried the shotgun for like 3 hours. I really like it. I haven't really touched the other one, and since I've already put so much, resources into this one gun, it would make me not want to switch that other one. So I like that I have the option to kind of play. Like if I want to, I can reset my shotgun and try the other one. I know the second shotgun, it's a heavier shotgun, but you don't charge it. So I actually kind of want to play with it a little bit more and check it out. And I think there's more of those differences even between the pistol and the main.
I love when games like that introduce you to weaponry, but the first weapon always seems to be kind of like the best, sort of like Dead Space.
I would agree
with the plasma cutter. Like the plasma cutter is a really versatile weapon. There's an achievement in those games for just using it because it's so good.
It really is.
But like you can get like I remember like the assault rifle, which has its uses, but like in Dead Space, its arsenal I feel like is very varied, and a lot of guns are used for a lot of different situations, and none of the guns really feel similar to the others.
Yeah. No, and I will say there's a lot of utility to each different type of gun. Like the shotgun, that thing's nice when you're getting approached by a group of like 4 or 3 orphans. That's when you want the shotgun. You charge it down. The more you charge it, the more of a spread it has, and the more powerful it is.
Right.
I will say one thing that was interesting to me. There's no like, I do think you do more damage if you shoot them in the head, but there is no really like mechanic in that way. Yeah, I think you can shoot their legs, that knocks them down. I think their head does more damage, and I think once you do destroy their head, they do die. But you can shoot them in the body and still do relatively good damage. I think it really is more about the idea of where am I killing these? Where am I laying the bodies? I got to watch out for these bigger guys. And as they get more powerful, they develop like, I don't even know how to describe it, like a carapace on parts of their bodies, like a hard shell. Yeah. So like there will be exposed areas on their face or their body that you then have to shoot. The other parts just reflect the bullets.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So the easy, I mean, the lowest level ones are like a headless like zombie thing that has like a tentacle arm. There's very much a visual distinction that you can start to tell, like, all right, this is a level 1 orphan, this is level 2.
Right.
And there's like the huge guys who do not let them merge because it becomes a fucking headache. That's the other thing. So like if you're getting attacked by a bunch of people and you're like, oh, maybe I'll just run away and try and recollect ammo and come back and face these guys, like they're going to merge with everyone. You're going to come back and find a bunch of people who are stronger enemies and are just going to be tougher to take out.
So it sounds like there's like 3 or 4 enemy varieties. Is that kind of it? Are there bosses? Are there sort of like, I don't know, like sort of like an anomaly enemies where like they're pretty rare?
Yeah. There's I think 3 or 4 bosses throughout. There's one boss fight in particular I remember pretty well. It's near the end. It's in the cathedral, which was, I think maybe one of the easier ones, but I still think it was very interesting. It was very Resident Evil-ish, especially like when you play it. I think you'll see what I mean.
Monster. Yeah, I would like to get around to this at some point.
I will to follow up on that. The bosses in general, I guess, didn't stick out to me that much. I'm trying to think back to the other ones. Mm-hmm. And there's like one when you start out that's like a very powerful orphan that's like this black goo one that can like teleport, and it leaves behind like these tentacles that trap you. There's the church one, like I said. I'm trying to remember the other. Oh yeah, there's another one where you have to use like these jump pads. That's another element that feels very Dead Space. You get this anti-gravity equipment, and there are these basically, I guess, platforms glowing like blue boxes. Jesus, when you stand on them, if you aim at like another one in the distance, you can jump to it. And you walk up walls. There's a really cool effect on the floor, like it's like these little blocks that raise, and as you walk over them, they lower. It's cool. It's not as like in depth as like Dead Space 1 where you have free reign and gravity, but I think it's an interesting element that adds something to the game for sure, gameplay wise.
So in regard to the story, the Traveler is going to this area for what reason? Do you know at the beginning of the game, or
so
do you know as you go further in?
You're woken up. You do your whole thing, and then they're like, "All right, I have to find your first objective is to find the Traveler who has the anchor."
Okay.
He
so
was
somebody's
down.
already been sent there.
So the idea is
you're sort of second wave.
You're almost even 6th or 7th wave. There's multiple travelers have been setting the path for a long time now. Like when you even go back in time, you'll find these they're little like save dens with all the traveler tech and like a save port and your upgrade station
like the
and all
save
that
room.
stuff.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you find these travel logs from different travelers informing you of things or talking about like what they did or why they failed or what they need, and that's how you get information on what you need. So the idea is every time a traveler falls, a new one is instated to then continue the work, such as our calling, as they say. And I thought that idea is very interesting. And again, you don't really know where they come from. They just talk about the collective in this very like, who the fuck is that even way? I don't really even by the end, I'm like, what is the collective? In a good way. I think they give me enough to like make me want more, but that's not really the point of the story. The point of the story really is to follow the traveler and their journey and where they end up by the end. And they actually even introduce this other character called the Warden. This is probably as spoilery as I get, who is another traveler. And they're not supposed to be up at the same time. Usually there's only one traveler up at the same time, and kind of things, unfold from there. And the idea of the Warden is he is there to take care of the equipment. Every once in a while, they need to wake up a different type of traveler who is called a Warden, who is there to fix all of the traveler equipment. And then they even talk about, there's another one called I think it's called a Pathfinder, who's a big part of the game, but I won't spoil that any deeper. I'll just give you the name. It's cool, man. I really think that this game is worth your time. If you like any of the genre, if you like Silent Hill, if you like Dead Space, if you like Resident Evil, that survival horror vibe, this is for you 110%. And I think you'll love this whenever you get to it, for sure.
$50?
I think, I think so. I thought it was 60, but maybe I'm wrong.
Okay.
I was pissed off about? I don't know why. I could not find, when I was looking up a physical edition, when it was coming out, I just didn't see it for some reason, so I bought it digitally, but it is physical. Like, I can buy it physically. I don't know why I was having...
Did I remember
trouble.
seeing that like they released the physical edition later?
Maybe they did. That's why I was... But I thought I saw it like the day of it was out, and I was like, what the hell?
Because, I mean, I know Silent Hill Remake obviously got a physical edition. I'm sure that like Observer and Layers of Fear did not get physical editions.
Yeah, I don't think so. Here, I'm looking on Steam really. Yeah, 60. It's 60.
Okay.
I thought it was. Yeah, I mean...
And what, 20 to 30 hours?
I'd say so.
And then
probably 15 to 20, I would guess.
Why are you doing New Game Plus? Can you get different endings?
So there's different endings. I want to get the achievement, or the trophies, I should say. There's a few collectibles. I have like, by the time I was done my first playthrough, I think I had 31 of the 48 trophies. So I have most of them. It's all about, I have to upgrade all the guns, which by the way, that mechanic where you can reset each gun, very key for that, because you can just do one gun at a time. So I just have one more that I have to do with that. I have to collect there's like comic books you can find around. There's the traveler logs, which you find around, just some collectibles
New Game
on that
Plus
stuff
for just continuing the upgrades.
Absolutely. And also I do want to get the other ending. And so there's 2 trophies. You can choose which, so there's essences you find throughout the game, which do different things for you. They actually give you like different bonuses. One will be like you set enemies on fire for longer. Your punch is more powerful, stuff like that. But you can choose which ones you take by the end, and there's an achievement for having a specific, like 3 specific essences in your philactery by the end. I think 2 different
Sounds
trophies.
like Silent Hill's 2's New Game Plus.
Yeah, and I think that those are how you get the different endings and stuff like that. So I'm excited to get back into it for sure. I mean, I've been playing the last couple nights.
I saw you were on last night.
I've been using the power picks walkthrough just for the collectibles and stuff like that.
Power picks.
Do you have a better one for me? Genuinely.
No.
I just like how it's just the sheet and I can just follow it as I'm going.
Yeah, I think Power Picks is best for either the text guides or their collectible guides. Sometimes for games, I feel like their guides, like for Lost Soul aside, actually, just since I'll be reviewing that next, I feel like their guide is like a bit too sparse for me.
Right.
It's actually a game where there's like not a lot of information on it because I imagine a lot of people are not playing it. So there's not a lot of in-depth information. It's like there's sort of like this gauntlet arena and it's like, okay, this is what the gauntlet arena is and what you have to do. But like, I'm looking for like what do I need to actually beat this? Like give me the strats, and there isn't that with Power Picks. But yeah, no, Power Picks is definitely probably within my top 3.
I do wish I looked at like there is one thing with the endings where I was like, I wish I had the right essences on this first one just to get one of the endings. I didn't really think about that. So I didn't get, I didn't get like the ending I would have liked the first time just to get it out of the way, but I don't care. I'll get back and
yeah. I mean, I think for Silent Hill 2 remake, I got the in water ending, which is like, I guess for all intents and purposes, the bad ending,
right?
But I'm like, I sort of like the idea. Even still, it's like, okay, like I just naturally got that. Like I played the game, and like that's what ended up happening. You got in water too, right? Or did you get Maria?
I thought I got Maria,
okay,
but I could be wrong.
Yeah, like that's interesting.
We'd have to go
back. The fact that
and
you just got that is pretty cool.
Is that the harder one to get, or is it?
You have to do a little. I think.
I actually think I did get in water because I didn't read the note or anything at the beginning, and like there was things.
Looking at those items trigger things.
That's what I think I missed.
I'm excited to do New Game Plus, and I kind of like that. Bloober brought that sort of design from Konami. I mean, into their into the remake of it, but then kind of informed about their own original IP.
That's one thing I will say about this in comparison to Silent Hill 2. I think the vibes, and I said this in that review, the vibes in Silent Hill 2 are significantly awful, and like this does not. I don't feel as eerie playing this game, and that's fine. That's not necessarily the vibe. I feel a bit more protected. I feel a bit more secure because I'm like, I'm the traveler. I'm in my temporal shell. Yeah. I'm a soldier of some kind.
Yeah.
But like when it came to Silent Hill, man, walking through those halls, I was like, man, I don't want to play anymore right now. This is fucking creepy as hell. And I didn't hit that in this, but that's fine. Again, like I said, that's not necessarily the vibe they're going for. It's more of it's a bit more thrillery. It's actually a bit more action oriented, but God, that moment to moment methodical pace of just walking through the level. That's one thing I do love about these types of games. I love the walking pace. I love how I can kind of walk through and just, enjoy the environment, kind of really sit in it. I don't know. It's a big element, and I think that's another thing they nail. But any other questions for me, Gooch, at all?
No, I'm curious to see if this is going to get any nods at the Game Awards or anything like that. It seems like it's pretty well received, but just not a lot of people played it. And again, I think that's just because when it came out at the end of August, it came out right on top of other things and then things before it and after it. And there's too many games and not enough time to play, not enough money to spend. People are only getting 1 or 2 games. Rarely are we getting all of this, and it's sort of just a casualty of the times, really, which sucks. And I feel like Bloober's been not really been in this position before, but it seems like this is the release that they really hit the nail on the head and got out of the layers of fear stuff and, have really progressed in terms of like what they've been making. And it seems like Cronos was the first title of theirs that was going to make some significant impact, and I think it has. And I'd be interested to see like its numbers compared to Layers of Fear and like their new Layers of Fear and Observer and things like that. What else did they make? Anything else?
I don't know off the top of my head. It was it was a lot of like kind of individual or more indie horror games like that. Or low level, I should say.
Yeah.
3 more things. 1, I love that this is a new IP. Can we give that a little bit of credit to? Good job. Yeah. It's nice to see a new, interesting, and cool IP. 2, the visuals in this game, this almost cinematography in some of these shots. I've never wanted to pull out a photo mode quicker, Gooch.
Photo mode?
Yeah. Well, it actually doesn't. But I just was taking shots like in the middle of cutscenes and things like that.
Photo modes for those kind of games do seem weird.
Yeah, and I would hope to see
it's very like immersion breaking. Like let's have fun. Like with Silent Hill, photo mode.
But like it's just dude, there's one shot where you get to the Ascendance room, like where it's like this big. It's just great imagery. It's like very industrial, Geigery. It's so gorgeous. And the last thing I'll finish on, the soundtrack is fucking awesome.
Cool.
When you hit like these moments and it goes, it's very synthy. It's great.
How did it perform? How'd it run on the PS5
Thank
Pro?
you. Fantastic. This is
Okay,
one that I
good.
really had no issues with. It looked great.
What's it
ran great.
in?
What do you mean?
The engine.
I think it's Unreal 5.
Okay.
Let me see. Cronos. Yep, Unreal Engine 5. So, I mean, I didn't notice. It looked fantastic. It ran well. It was 60 frames, at least from my just, naked eye, as much as I could tell the most time. So,
Was there a performance and fidelity mode?
I didn't actually look.
Okay.
I just kind of stuck with whatever it is. I think it was on performance.
I did that I'm doing that with Yote. I was fine with the way it looked, and I'm like, I'm not going to go into it.
Dude, I was playing the first 2 hours of VOT with that. I'm like, why does this feel so chunky? And I switched it to the ray tracing pro mode, and I'm like, oh shit! Like it does. It looks awesome, and it plays really well on the pro. But we'll get to that on the podcast.
Maybe I should look. I think the mode I have I think it's on performance.
Well, that would make sense, yeah. But I don't think the base has that performance pro, or the ray tracing pro mode. Anywho, thank you all. Anything else, Gooch? I'm sorry.
No, that's it. I'm glad you liked it. I'm looking forward to eventually one of these days, years, months, getting around to it.
Dude, definitely. I really cannot recommend this game enough. It's just a fantastic little slice of horror survival. Really can't beat it. All right. Well, thank you all for watching with us live on twitch.tv/Delco Nerd Network. We really do appreciate your time. You can find this podcast anywhere podcasts are found. Just search Delco Nerd Network on your service of choice. We got a Facebook page, Discord channel, all that good stuff will be linked down below for your convenience. You can find us on all the social medias at Delco Nerds, on anything with an @ sign. You can find all this information at our website, delconerdnetwork.com as well. And you can email us your comments, questions, or concerns to delconerds@gmail.com. We'd be happy to get back to you. But for Gooch, I've been Trio. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay nerdy, and we will see you next time.